Hi, and welcome to What If, the Search for Truth. We have Josh with us today. I want to thank everybody who's here. I just came on alone because I had to see if the tech was on my side. So I'm going to bring Josh in now. Waiting for Josh to connect. Echoing slightly. Okay. Is echo an issue? Ah, hello, brother. You are live.
Yeah.
Just
How are you? How is everybody today? Thank you for having me.
everybody who's here, I believe, is very fine. And thank you. Never forget, you're the one who should have most of the thanks. I see Bonnie's with here today. Bonnie, happy you made it. I saw your message just before, and I'm sorry there seems to be some confusion about last Thursday when we postponed it. But it was kind of in the show notes, I wrote something about that, like before we postponed. So okay, hold on. I wish them welcome.
There you go. Sorry, I was just a little bit late.
Just my dog who wanted to participate.
So, happy Sunday.
Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Very well.
Somebody said something about echo. Is that an issue?
I can't hear any echo. If anyone else is having echo issues, let us know.
Me neither. No echo. Okay, very good. Then let's get into it. Not that it is very planned, but first and foremost, how you been, brother, since last time?
Yeah, I've been great.
You've been great.
It's been a cold front in the UK. How about your sides? We have the moon over us, so we're getting temperatures back down to like 3,
Yeah,
4.
we are. It's said that we're getting a cold period as well. So I've been having some beautiful days now. It's still kind of, let's say, like fresh, but it's getting colder. So with the almost, the sun, most of the snow is gone, and you see the green grass here and there. So it's kind of a springy feeling, but of course we're in the start of March, so it can still snow for 2 months.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting possibilities of snow this coming few days, which is probably not going to happen because we rarely get it. We usually get slush, and then it just washes away. Yeah, but it would be lovely to see. It's very beautiful, isn't it? I think you always rely on a good bit of snow, can't you, in Norway?
If you can always rely on having snow?
You can in Norway, can't you? You always have a good bit of snow each year.
Depends. I'm in south or more south of Norway, and we've had winters with barely any snow. Must be the global warming, I guess. But more north, it's you can be pretty sure you will get snow without a doubt. So yeah, it's both, but mostly we have. I remember when I was like when I was a teenager, I did ski jumping, and I had to finish, or not that I was any good, but anyway, there was season after season without snow, so there was so much traveling to get to somewhere to train and everything. So
yeah,
but I was like 15, so it started to some other things started to be interesting.
Is that when you turned to bodybuilding? Because you could always rely on a bit of iron in the gym.
Not directly.
No.
It took a few years.
Okay. What age was it you actually started to embark on your journey of weightlifting?
Well, I remember I had some visits to some gyms probably when it was in Norway, there's or at least there was a 16-year-old, like a age limit.
Okay.
And I remember I wasn't old enough when I went. So probably 14, 15 when I first started visiting some gyms, right? But I guess when I was drafted for the armed forces, I actually kind of started, I would say, the period where I started to bodybuild, let's say. So now I'm probably going to start a gym close by. We are living on, like a countryside kind of a thing, and so there's like, if you think about the school district, it's about 3,000 people, 2,500, 3,000 people. So if just 1 out of 10 wants to train, it should be okay.
Yeah,
It should be okay.
I'm sure if you can inspire some youth as well around the local area, I think you get a good number of
because
those people.
it's not like they are that the offers of things to do are lined up on the countryside. So that's always talking for it. So I think I will just jump into it and give it a shot. It's in the same building as my wife have this grocery store, so it'll kind of be close, and
You'll be able to go down and get your food and send everybody down there as well.
Yes, there will be a synergy.
Yeah.
So no, I think it can be good. It will be good. Then probably do something for the young and something for the old, like a special treatment. No, but like help them basically, right?
Of course. Keep them mobile.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, you were a big 350 pounder, weren't you? 350-pound bodybuilder?
Yeah. 350-pound bodybuilder off season. But not fat, like not very, very fat. Yeah, so it was a journey. Sometimes I ask myself, what was the reason for that part of my journey?
Build strength in the way that you knew how at that particular time, and it was the same for me. I didn't enjoy mixing with the world because I was conscious at a young age, and I seen through all of the possibilities that going drinking and nightclubs and things like this would lead you to. And I built the only thing that I could do myself, and that didn't involve anyone else, and that was the body at that particular time. And to be so dedicated and empowered and in control of yourself to that degree is, another level of evolution that most people across the plane don't really, have a chance to do. So that level of mastery that comes from bodybuilding is just a significant one in the physical reality, but it builds strength in the character. But the character is also something which could be and should be recognized as the illusion that you hold upon yourself. So embarking that journey that you've done and letting it all go and finding the nature of yourself and then stepping back into that to enjoy it without the identity and the crisis that comes with it, the expectations that you have on yourself to maintain 22-inch arms.
Excuse me, sorry.
Please go, please. We have to be kind to these wonderful pets that we have in our house. Yeah, anyone that's embarking on a gym journey in the beginning stages of their life is a real important key to mastering or to mastery over the body, which will then, if one is dedicated to the truth, it will lead you to an aspect of mastery over the mind, which will be the next stage of the evolution. Because life is just one big evolutionary experience for us to embark on, and is the great purpose of us being here. Nice to have you back.
I just remembered if you have any questions, can you please write them in capital letters, because it will make it so much easier to find them later. Sorry. No, it's definitely. Now, I just said, like, I asked myself, what was that part of the journey for? Because I'm in no doubt that there was a reason, and that I was, presented the interest. That's how, at least how I look at it. Like it wasn't. It was, and still do, and about everything, that it's all given to you, like the ability to do what you're meant to do, and the thoughts you need to think to do to go in the direction you're meant to go. And it's easy. It's easy to okay. It may not be easy. It's easy to say, and it's easy to do when you know how to do it. But I wish it upon everyone. Huh?
It's a tongue twister, but life is essentially leading us all on a journey. And if we have the ability to see it and take on board what's being presented, then this is our purposeful evolution and the necessary experiences we need to go through to advance ourselves. And one aspect of it is, of course, this ego driven in the beginning, because the ego is always searching for more power. And it sees more power in these things, and it does also see more power in spirituality. This is why so many beings are actually stuck in the spiritual ego or spiritual identity that they've acquired. But again, it's one shift. It's a shift from like a negative perception that the world presents to you, and then having the ability to perceive things from the mind in a nicer way, but also challenging the mind during that process to really see the core of it, and to recognize that you're being driven still by the mind. And that space before the mind speaks is where we all need to try to sit before any interpretation or dialogue comes in from it. And that is the peace that is so simply found, but very difficult when one is looking for something within the world.
I have my thoughts today was to give most of the time to our listeners, because last time we had a guest, and the time before that, I don't think we had time to address them much. I have one thing I wanted to ask you. I asked you briefly about simulation theory right before, like what is this thing? What are we a part of? And apart from the simulation theory, like akin to is the saying, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to see it, does it make a sound, right? And of course some will say that if there's nobody there to see it, there's no tree, there's nothing if there's not an observer. But the other day something interesting happened. Every day I take my dog and we walk for a while. There's a road behind my house that goes up to, it's like a couple of kilometers, and it's a place where I usually sit down and meditate a little bit before I go down. So I was sitting there on a chair, because my brother-in-law has a small cabin there. So just meditating, right? And as I'm sitting there minding my own business, definitely, I hear a tree falling. Right? I'm sitting there not thinking about any trees. But it's a quite you can't take wrong. You can't mistake the sound for anything else. It's like and it's boom. So what happened there? Was there somebody? A tree. I heard a tree fell.
Yeah, that's what's happening. It's a bit like the chicken and the egg. And the people that bring the theory or the idea that if a tree falls, it doesn't make a sound if no one's there to observe it. And then you go into the jaw slit experiment, things like this. truly, consciousness is where you are right now in your experience. And for the chicken and egg to be answered, you have to recognize that there is no possibility of either coming first, and it has to come and arise within consciousness. A tree falling in your experience is going to be audible. If you see it, it's going to be seen. But if it's out of your experience and the tree falls, is inaudible to you. So when you approach the tree is a fallen tree within consciousness that is in your screen and nothing more. I suppose there's a route to the answer or the route to the question that you're seeking, and it would just come to what is consciousness, essentially. And how did it all manifest? How does it all come into play? But these questions, they're kind of trivial because there's no answer, which kind of leads you into a space of unanswerable questions, searching externally again for answers when they're only found within here. A small diversion. And, I suppose it correlates with the simulation theory and probably the type of consciousness or the level of consciousness that's experimenting or trying to see on that level, who are trying to find out what consciousness is, i.e. simulation theory. Because the people that speak of this, they don't know consciousness. They're still seeking.
Those speaking about simulation theory?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
once one
probably
knows
many.
consciousness, simulation brings up a concept within itself, a big bubble. And simulation means, are we computer generated? Is the great mind creating this, all of this essentially? And then as you progress to your evolutionary states within yourself, you then learn to recognize as evolutionary states are revealed as revelations. But as and when you're ready to receive that level of information. And essentially this journey of physicality, you seek it through information, but information leads one to a space of almost foolishness, because they still speak on things which they know nothing about. And these are still beliefs. These will still be lie X, And then wisdom comes from the knowing and walking of your experience. So anyone trying to talk about simulation theory is only talking from beliefs and information, which is never going to be from gnosis or knowledge or wisdom, should I say, through the experience.
Yeah, I guess most of the people, I've seen some that that kind of speak of simulation theory and consciousness. But
I would say, yeah, but consciousness is still just a word that has a meaning to most people, and that meaning doesn't really mean truly anything other than a belief. The nature of consciousness itself is incredible, and for someone to really know the dynamics of it, it takes mastery. It really does. So I really just delight.
But we talked about many times that there's nothing physical, right? So and that also fits into simulation theory. But how do you view, like, again, if nothing is physical, we are all created.
I mean, physicality, let's deal with that. So the question on physicality, what would you say you would base that question on? And then we can try to answer them individually.
No, I'm just thinking, like, if there's nothing physical, then, right?
So nothing physical explained in physicality is the fact that an atom or a torus, if you understand what an atom truly is, a magnetic field, is primarily empty space. Is this coming from a scientific background, saying that actually physicality and matter is essentially empty? Or is it coming from the spiritual ideology that nothing created everything?
Well, no, yeah, but mostly I was after your explanation of, like, if there's no physicality, then there must be some kind of a simulation. So if it's, would you say there's a simulation in some form?
I mean, it is all simulated within inside yourself.
Ikke sant? Yeah.
It's just the dream.
Mm.
But it takes a great level of seeing to comprehend this, and a lot of contemplating. Through your experience, it takes years and years and years of inner work to really grasp the nature of consciousness, and obviously applying this and observing through your experience is going to lead you to that. So yeah, of course, reality can only be simulated, but there's nothing out here simulating it. And I think that's where people get lost.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, so it has to be simulated, and all physicality is just an expression from not within the body, within the self. And then there are many tools that you can have, which we would say Solomon's temple had tools along his journey, or was buried with tools. And you have certain tools within yourself to be able to utilize that can lead you to a great understanding of your environment, yourself, and the nature of consciousness. Which is, I mean, it's such a vast thing, a vast discussion to have. And pointings are great. And if you wish to deeply discuss, then please fire the questions.
No, let's go to because like I said, I wanted to get the audience a chance today. So I actually don't have too much more questions than that. So I will just go into the chat, and I see that Tara Marie has asks if you can please talk about the planets. I was wondering what it means that they are wandering stars. I thought stars were holes in the firmament, so how can they move? Recently, Jupiter and Venus were so close. Good question.
Yeah, so stars are stars, and planets are planets. But planets in Greek means wandering star. So from the observer, from the ground, without any zoom from the eye, they look like they're stars wandering, but they're not, they're planets. Planets essentially are suns, are moons that are rotating around the plane, and they have a different, let's say, a different speed and a different diameter. So they will be traveling a very different, how could we put this into language so people can understand? Every sun and every moon is traveling at a different speed, so the time that they cross paths with each other will be different, and they will align like a great cosmic clock over years and years. So we have to take away the scientific explanation of planets that are unobservable in their movement. In billions of galaxies, we have 7. Our sun, our moon, we have Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, and Mars, and Mercury. This is it. These are the wandering stars. They're like the 7 chakras of this earthly plane, energy centers as such. So if you're trying to look into science with it, it's kind of confusing. But if we stick to those basic 7 and understand the geometry of the Earth, which is a plane, a great toroidal field, and an inertial plane of light that allows physical reality to be experienced here, then it's very simple. It's very simple. And please.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember we discussed this before, and we were talking about, okay, there's a plane, and some will say there's a vaster plane than what we know. And when we talked about one time that these other planets, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, and Saturn, and these things is kind of the sun and the moon in the area outside of ours. Yeah. Did I misunderstand that, or
no? I'm going to try and draw something while you're explaining it.
Yeah,
just to keep it very simple and basic. I mean, I'm not going to do anything detailed here.
No.
But if we just do this, And we do this. And, you know, the great cosmic alignment is when they all align, essentially. But we just say like this.
Yeah.
So you have our sun, our moon, Mars, Venus, Saturn, Sun, Jupiter, Moon. Plane exists like this. Different toroidal fields into the great toroidal field that everything encapsulates in. You could call it the cosmic egg. Yeah. And
But
the scientific. Go on, please, brother.
No, I'm just gonna, while I remember, let's say in the firmament model, are these also local? Like if we have a local sun and moon, and
right, yeah, they are. They're just distant from where we are.
so out
This
of
is why when you
perspective,
go to Antarctica, you can see the second sun, which would be Mars. This is why every time you look at
okay,
a trip to space, they go like that. They don't go up.
But if they are local sun and moon further out on the plane, what did we see up there those other days, like when they were talking about those?
I'm not sure what we saw the other day. Sorry.
No, but there was kind of the question was Jupiter and Venus were so close that like Jupiter and Venus were visible and people could see them, right? On the sky. Sky.
Yeah.
So what were they doing up there if they were supposed to be like
They just appear to be higher when they're further away. So if we just, let's say this is the North Pole, and we're all going to be somewhere just around here, yeah? So where are we now? So Venus would be the moon here. Okay, and let's say this is Saturn, this is the sun, and this is Jupiter. So these two here, maybe let's try and say this. We have the Tropic of the Equator, Tropic of Cancer, that the sun and the moon kind of sine wave across, yeah? This creates the seasons. I'm sure I've never been there, but I'm sure this happens here. So this moon and this moon would have been around about here, let's say. And then from us, they're quite easily visible. One will appear brighter than the other. One will appear higher than the other. And there's nothing really complex about it.
No, I was just thinking like seeing them, let's say afar. I was just thinking if that's the case, how would they kind of like for our sun, it's closer, much bigger. If we're just
it's not that big, see, the sun isn't really like anywhere near as big as projected by the media, 93 million miles away, this huge ball of gas. So it's all relative to size. And you see how bright they are, and you just think across, this is 24,000 miles around, isn't it? And I'm not sure how far this whole plane would be, but it can't be too far to see a big bright object in the sky. And if you look at these, let's say Mars from here, and then you go to Antarctica or the closest you can get and you see it, sometimes it just looks like a visible sunrise, but just a little bit further away. We just don't have the capability right now, mankind, and unless you're involved in, great high elite business ventures, to view these things quickly within consecutive days of each other, to really experiment. But I feel like this is the most simply explained version. If somebody's done enough research to understand the concept of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was going to ask if they're inside or outside the firmament, but then I thought about this explanation I saw, where you have the black hole sun, and the sun and the moon is just kind of reflections from the black hole sun. Like, then what about those other planets? Are those projections
I'm sure like it would be light or energy scattered, fragmented, just like our energy centers. But without going to these spaces, these people that, said about the black sun, if anyone's read The Smoky God, the story, the tales in there, go to the center, there's a concave space and there's a black sun here. It's very hard to give conceptual education on it. But I think the easiest explanation would be that there are, light, there is plasmas in the sky that we call planets. There's 7. They are not far away from us. They are suns and moons. And at the center, more than likely, I would say the Mercury's there. And you look at Mercury's religion or through sacred science, and then you see Mercury is used at the center of gyroscopic technology to create Vimanas in ancient flying technologies, which would have been done to magnetism. I'm sure it's all correlated, and that's the only place that I would put, Mercury as the center sun. But
so how many would that make? Like, how many? Let's say, I was thinking about the Ida and Pingala. Like, you have the one is sun and one is moon kind of energy, and they go between the chakras. And is that also, of course, as above, so below, and all those things? But which are planets? Of course, moons and suns. Yeah, okay, forget it. I'm on board. I'm on board.
Yeah, I just think there needs to be light, there needs to be darkness, there needs to be hot, there needs to be cold, there needs to be mediation of pressure for any type of movement with inside aspect of anything, and essentially all of our matter is essentially vortices within inside the ether, which is just mediation of pressure. So on a small scale to a grand scale, it has to be identical, as above, so below.
So are our every other chakra negative and positive, or is it just the energy around that is?
I would just say the converging points of energy which create light, and so any type, there's a point of these two energies meeting. There's an aspect of light, an aspect of energy concentrate here. That's why the Earth, many megalithic or ancient monuments are built on these energy grid lines because they're converging lines. And possibly you look up to the sky and you say that these stars are also converging lines. But I mean, it's a very interesting concept. But to try to give truth on it, I try to steer away from going too deep into conceptual ideas because it's an untruth, essentially. I don't want to give anybody this old belief that I may have had, but now it really doesn't hold any true value to me because, at one point, everybody needed to know that the earth was flat. Everybody needed to know that they were eating poison. Everybody needed to know that the law system was corrupt and there was a way around this. Everyone, and you just build up this new identity. Then when you let go of that idea and you continue to maintain that present aspect of things, there's only one true thing which has any value to you, and that is how you hold yourself. How do you have the ability to transcend the thoughts that cause you suffering? How do you abstain from reactivity, from the external environment? And this is what makes the man turn into the Godhead himself, by removing duality. It was a lovely topic. Thank you for bringing that question to us, sister.
Thank you, Tara, for that question. That was good.
And if there's any more, please just ask. We're here today for you.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
So just going to say thoughts on Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Thoughts on dried fruit.
Sweeter. It's not so easy to digest, and consuming extensive amounts of it will more than likely lead you to acid reflux sensations. But as a sweet treat, instead of using any type of commercial food or any sweets, any sugar containing things, it's going to be the best thing that you can have. So don't judge it too much. I mean, just enjoy things. And if you feel within your body there's some irritation, just drop the amount you consume until you find the level within yourself that's okay.
It's better than chocolate.
It is
Or
much better than chocolate.
better for
Probably
you.
tastes good with
I would say,
chocolate, but
I would correct myself. I would say better for you because
yeah.
I love chocolate. Can you distill seawater? Thank you. Green-minded wolf. Thank you.
You can, of course, distill seawater, but I'm not sure how pure it will come out. It's like, I've had questions, can you distill, urine? And it comes out very tainted. So I'm sure that seawater might have to go through a distiller a few times to really purify it.
But isn't that what's happening in like real life? So water evaporates from the sea, but maybe not with the salt then? Does it evaporate?
Yeah, it does
Without salt?
evaporate, but yeah, because the salt's obviously more dense. So you would think, it would still have maybe a few impurities with it, but you never know. I haven't tried this. I haven't tried it, so maybe it's just worth a try and a little taste, and then and see what it tastes like.
My distiller said something about that, and it said it can be done, and it said stainless steel distiller. So I guess probably it depends a bit on the distiller.
Well, you won't want to put it in any type of copper distiller, but if you did, then it's a good way of harvesting your own sea salt. So maybe try it. If it works, you can have your own sea salt at the bottom and take that out and enjoy some fresh water from the ocean.
Since we just mentioned urine, there's a big, let's say, in my feed, my people on
Okay.
Facebook, there's some people who are hard proponents for urine therapy, and of course meeting a lot of resistance, but are positive because of their own experience that it works. And then actually I didn't indulge in the conversation. I just observed. But some person wrote to me and asked me what I thought about it, right? So I was just saying like, I'm not this, or I can't say this or that. I don't know. People say it's working. And some people say it's not good. Can't be bothered. But I guess I wouldn't do it myself. Also, the argument for the, let's say, so the resistance is that you're drinking your own waste. What would you say?
I think
Urine
comes out the other end.
does, right?
There seems to be many studies that it's just, essentially vitamins and minerals and amino acids. It's essentially a byproduct of the blood. So if there's any toxins going on the blood, maybe minuscule, but the body's going to deal with them in a separate way. It's not going to really put them too much through the bloodstream. And I think that's where, a lot of people are getting confused thinking the wee is going to be like toxic. But there is a lot of, let's say, anecdotal science behind urine therapy to say that it's very beneficial, especially during times of emergencies. If you are stung or bitten, and the medical industry does use, or collects urinal urea and uses it for medicinal purposes. So if we think there's a byproduct of the blood and in concentrated forms, there's life force there for sure. But as a medical intervention,
yeah, because that's kind of sorry, but I'm just going to say
as a medical intervention, anyone's fasting is going to experience like great healing. So if someone's been told you're in therapy and they're on a Western diet, or they're eating something and they go to urine and they say, I got healed, of course they're going to say that urine has healed me. If anyone's saying, right, I'm removing all this food just for now and I'm going to drink a shot of urine 3-4 times a day, and then they're going to be healed. So really, a scientist has to be yourself to truly understand it. And I have experienced it with many people And I do not see this great level of healing that people have with this expectation of it. But it's not something that's going to cause any harm. And if you're coming from a certain lifestyle or diet, or even if you're eating fruits and vegetables and having small amounts of cooked food and you choose to fast on your own urine, when you're sick, I'd say you're going to get better. But you can do it with water. But if you're doing it with urine, essentially this urine that you're collecting when you're consuming food is going to contain excess vitamins, excess minerals that can replenish you with electrolytes and all these things. If you're just drinking pure water, and over time, you would say the urine would be better for you. But every time that you absorb the minerals into the body, it's going to get less and less, and it's just going to turn into essentially like distilled water, probably, with no vitamins and minerals left in it.
You mentioned medical intervention, and I believe that was quite maybe one of the claims that started a bit of a discussion, was that it was claimed that you can quit radiation and chemotherapy if you have cancer and just start drinking your urine and you will be good as new. I'm not saying it's
like
not
fasting, it's like fasting.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
And fasting is the greatest healer. So I just think there's a lot of confusion with it. And if people choose to embark on the journey and you want to drink your own wee for an experiment, do it. But I personally don't do it.
No.
And I've tried it 10, 15 years ago, and I carried on with my fruit juices.
Yeah. Let's see. What about shooting stars? Tara Marie asks. Shooting stars.
Very big question. An unanswerable question from myself. I don't really want to touch that because it's just conceptual.
Okay.
And I don't really feel like I could give it a definitive answer on it. And all the things I shared with the flat earth and things like that, I feel like that's the answers.
Yeah.
For shooting stars, it's one of those questions. The only thing that I've kind of come into like probably 6 years, 7 years ago was when I was looking at language with everything. And I was looking at comets, and you see co-met, and it's like two things joining, and comets have a trailing edge. I think comets, stay in the sky for a while, let's say. And when you have another planet with its field or its pull, and another planet with its field and its pull, and this is going this way, you're going to see like a trailing edge of this energy that has particles attached to it. And possibly when they meet, these two planets, they kind of have this hold on each other, and then you see this comet in the sky. But apart from that, I think shooting stars are something that's quite unexplainable to a mere old body.
Just one thing about urine therapy before we move on. I was just thinking, like, we must not forget let's say the biology of belief. If you believe wholeheartedly that it will cure you, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not doubting any of the healing power of fasting on urine for sure. I would say it would heal you for sure. But so would water fasting and things like this. So.
Okay, thank you. Can I be? Nå skal vi se. Should we try to avoid eating too many avocados? Asks Arm Jr.
It depends how expensive they are in your area.
Yeah.
Avocados are incredible. They're very satiating. They feel very natural to consume. In a world of high predominantly sugar fruits, it's going to give you some different textures and more fats. So a lot of people's minds will be rested when they are consuming fats. For me, we as a family used to consume about 5 or 6 avocados in just one dip for one meal. That's about 1,500 calories, maybe 1,600 calories. We just use it for a dip or a seasonal sauce. So I wouldn't say there was any point to limiting yourself to it. But just feel yourself. This whole journey that we're going through is to really learn ourselves and to feel what these foods do for us. So try consuming them in excess. See what happens. See how you feel. If you feel a slight adversity, then just lower them, and then you'll recognize that it was this. But that's why this journey is so powerful, because you will never know. Even if I tell you, it's still going to form just a belief and then an expectation. But all of these things, they are acquired to the person, which just build up this false identity. But yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And no, I think you're going to be fine eating excess of any fruits, but just make sure you have as much balance as you can, because different fruits and different foods are grown in different soils, and different soils probably have more of a certain vitamin and mineral and nutrients than the other ones. So just get your diversity, keep your gut bacteria, large and happy.
That dip would also be like 25 pounds in Norway.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then okay, sorry if I butcher your handle. Garba. Can I build muscle on only sweet fruit, no avocado, etc.? Thanks.
And you build muscle on sweet fruits. I mean, truly, I see muscle being built from protein. Protein synthesis is created from the glucose that you have from these fruits with amino acids. So I would say 100% yes. But you're going to have to be very on point with your schedule and the amount of food you're consuming, making sure that you're not overeating at any situation, but you're also feeding the body enough to stay anabolic and grow this muscle tissue. But there's that science to it, but also there's a science to learning this body that you have. If anyone is looking for help with this, for sure you can book a consultation, and we can sit with you and create a plan specific to you, your size, your body weight, your goals, and we're more than happy to do that.
Green-minded wolf is asking if you can talk about black light. Please talk about black light, where we have to go after we have stopped to dream here. Thank you.
Black light.
Black light.
I think this black light would just be another concept, and it's the space where nothing exists but the awareness, and the awareness is constantly creating. So once you've experienced all there is to know here, and you've transcended this idea of a physical body, you arise as awareness and recognize that this was but a dream. And then you continue to have the ability consciously to create and manifest dreams at your will, if you have transcended mind and ego here. Otherwise, you'll continue another ideal experience that one loses the nature of themselves, to then find their way back to evolve at that level of consciousness. So truly, you've always been that awareness. You lost your awareness identifying with the body, and through this body, you can find yourself back once again, and absolutely let go of this body and return to consciousness at will. But it's not something that's necessary. You can truly recognize your source, reshift the way you are within the world, because these levels that you go through are so different within each evolution. Maybe we could just talk about some small levels of evolution to the greater scales of evolution if we have time. But most people just awaken to the falsities within the world, and this arises, anger. Some people never have a body evolution, but they have this evolution, and they sometimes get stuck here in the ideas of conspiracies, which arises a lot of, let's say, brother, how hard is it to try to awaken others when you believe that others need to be awoken from the new concepts that you found? The world needs to know these things, that they're spraying chemtrails above our eyes. We have these concepts. Then we have this great deal of suffering. But if suffering arises from the idea that something needs to be changed. So as soon as you can let go trying to change or control situations, you start to realize that there's a mechanics to this evolution as spiritual. And then you see the less that you actually think, the less that you form these identities, you are beginning to be more and more free. And when you have let go of all these concepts, living in immaculate conception as the energy of Christ with yourself, you can then learn the nature of consciousness within yourself through your own contemplation. And this will lead you to another evolutionary state. But essentially, becoming free and liberated from ego will lead you to the next level of evolution through the experience of perceived physical death, which when one has evolved beyond that, they know there is no physical death. You're just moving on. And the next stage of this is a body and a spirit knowing its true nature, experiencing instantaneous manifestation at will. And this is when you can, be reunited with your loved ones, per se, because whatever you desire, knowing consciously that you can at will create them and experience this is ready for everyone that's willing to, dedicate their life or dedicate the experience to truth.
Yeah.
Never fear the darkness, never fear the light. They both work very well together, but all light comes from darkness.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you were talking about that, I definitely know what you're talking about, and probably many so that's part of the process, I guess, for many, because there was a good period of time, several years, where I was exactly where you were saying, like I had a different perception than other people, and I thought everybody must see they must know this, right? You share, and I debated, let's say, are discussed with a lot of, because I was alone, more or less, right? So what it did was that in other people's eyes, I lost it. It's starting to turn, and so it's good, but of course, problems with family, because of my perception, but in some strange kind of a way, I found for a period at least, I found some pleasure in showing my view and trying to explain it. But it was for just a period, and that period taught me so much, I feel, about other people, how to kind of handle people, or how to talk to people, or maybe use a rhetoric that doesn't create the attack, from the other side.
But it's
So
finding what to do with that new information, as long as it's not causing suffering and you don't have an idea that other people need to know, then the expression is purposeful and fine. That's the next level of evolution from finding the information, having this cognitive dissonance, believing that other people need to know. It's just a process. It's a natural process. And whoever is at that space, is not wrong. It's not fine. It's natural. But there is an evolution beyond that. And that's the recognition that everyone everywhere is doing exactly what they need to be doing, and information and experience is being handed to them as and when is necessary and needed for their level of evolution, because those that cannot assimilate it aren't ready to hear it, and those that you're trying to preach it on to actually repel the information, which causes separation and suffering on both behalves. So it's just perfect.
And that's why it's interesting, and why I feel I can put another nail in the coffin on the fact that I believe that you are if you're meant to do something and you do it, at least like that, for me, like in this situation, where I put out things that's kind of conspiracies, right? And everybody think I'm a conspiracy theorist and everything. Okay. But at the same time, I'm kind of given the ability, the power to to do it without. Okay, and that's probably where ego comes in, right? If you are so let's say if you care about what other people think, say, and mean about you, to the extent that you're not saying anything, then that's probably the ego that's keeping you from, because the ego cares about what other people think, means, and says about you. So I just find it interesting that, because I don't have any other explanation on why I have done it, why I did it over many years. Only thing I was getting out of it was that I lost many people, but of course, probably people I don't need.
Yeah, and that's
So,
perfect. And then when you realize that, you go back and the relationships you build, and possibly like me, you see people who are very unconscious, but you can interact with them better on a more base level than people that are spiritually ego, because they're so identified with these new concepts that really they're looking down on other people because they believe they need to change, when this is not the case.
I couldn't agree more. And it's almost to the point where, like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here now in this podcast? Like, is it I hope somebody find it beneficial, but and I
enjoy speaking with you
I
anyway.
enjoy doing them, so of course that's enough. But you can
Yeah.
always question, okay,
Don't
now
do
we're
things you
doing
don't
this.
enjoy.
Exactly, but okay, we're doing it. We're not, I don't believe we are claiming too much things. We are shedding a light on things. So
I don't
yeah.
think there's anything that anybody needs to know apart from how to manage their self. That's the only thing that we all should really need to know, is how to let go of the ideas that form all this judgment and suffering that we have, all these expectations, all this anxiety, all this depression, all this jealousy, this envy, essentially all the sins that were handed to us via, the virtue system, and really how to learn this level of evolution. Because when that piece has fallen at you, then you can go and engage in the world in, any way you see fit, unaffected, protected, and then it becomes a joyous life rather than a life which is happening to you instead of for you.
It's actually the key, right?
Yeah,
It's the key. It's the key.
Everybody's looking for
Mm.
the answer of that inside a conceptual world of information, but it's only applicable, and the evolution is only found through yourself in the recognition and the contemplation of these ideas that cause you suffering.
Yeah. Trust and let go.
Yeah. Let the wave ride, but remain as you were before the commentary, before the interpretation, before the dialogue came. You stay in that space, you're free. There's an art to it, but this is quickly on a podcast.
Okay, let's move on. Roxy 444. I'm wondering what Josh's opinion is about consuming maple syrup and also cocoa.
Cocoa. So it's going to be such a better food for you than any type of sugar, any real processed foods. I think maple syrup is more than likely one of the cleanest sweeteners you could use. So let's say cleaner than coconut sugar, probably on par with honey. People don't like using honey because of the bees. Some people don't mind. But if you don't mind, I would say, honey's probably slightly better. Maple syrup's there for you. Of course, is going to bring some level of mild acid. So if you're on a healing protocol, it's just something that I wouldn't recommend. It's something that your body can deal with on a day-to-day basis, just using for mild sweeteners. If you feel at this stage in your life that you need it, then use it. If you become aware of something greater, let the awareness guide you, because you truly don't need to do anything. It's just the awareness of something which gradually allows one to get involved and to change and to evolve.
I was just gonna.
Cocoa it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was
Yeah,
cocoa.
cocoa and
Yes,
maple syrup.
cocoa is, science says it has these great effects on the body, on the mind. If you're looking at a kind of deeper level, it's just a stimulant, so a nervous system stimulant as well. So if you're looking to stay away from things that pick you up and make you fall a little lower, and you kind of have to rely on some chemicals or some substances to keep you balanced, then try abstaining from it and see how it makes you feel. For me, we use carob, which isn't a stimulant, which is the closest flavor to chocolate, essentially, or cocoa or cacao. It seems to be, the easiest with our bodies when we're creating this chocolate flavor. But we don't want to hold ourselves, and create these boxes of health, because, like Stein said earlier, belief is a powerful thing. But the more we believe things are going to hurt us, the more we kind of restrict ourselves into this dietary world. And it's not necessarily a good thing. But in times of drastic measures, like I said, it's good to eliminate all these things. Essentially, cocoa is from a seed. Seeds are for planting. They contain certain elements within them that are anti-nutrients and acidic to the body. But again, it's moderation. You wouldn't eat half a kilo of it because it's not going to fill you up. It's there as a flavor moderator or an enhancer. So, yeah, that's my answer for it.
And it was a good one. Um,
Enjoy your life, because when you realize the truth, everything is okay. It just depends on how you want to live with your body. If you want to live with it free from disease, but you don't mind a few kinks in the chain, a few aches and pains, it's just a slow process, evolution.
Fred Smith has a question, and he's wondering who the people are who don't tell us the truth about the flat earth, and what do they get by us not knowing the truth?
I don't think they get anything. If you say that the idea is a whole corporate entity, controlling everything for the benefits of a few, it's nice. It's another concept, which is more than likely truth to it. But also look at it in a positive way and realize that when one is actually observant and starts to look for the truth, the answers are there to find, which makes you recognize that the world is built on lies, which then leads you to the next level of your evolution in dealing with the anger that comes from it and the ideas that you need to change something, and see that this experience of duality is necessary, all of these falsities were necessary, and there's no need to change them, because everyone out there is awaiting to awaken, and as they awaken, they recognize the lies and turn to the truth. But if we focus on unveiling lies, then we create suffering. Let's focus on what's true, which is the ability that you have to deal with them peacefully and to maintain balance and peace, or bring balance to maintain within yourself, is the key. So, yeah, conceptually, there's a few families.
Would you say it's maybe also a means to kind of keep us away from God? Or, like, let's say if everything started with the Big Bang and everything is just coincidental, and there's just chaos, and there's no God. It's just coincidences.
I know, it's crazy. Even the idea of that, how would something come out of a physical, how would something come from nothing into physical manifestation other than an idea of a dream or consciousness, and then that one thing turned into this big thing, and then an animal turned into a human, and these are just ridiculous things which they insert beliefs into you. So one believes they know, then they never seek. But the nature of life, you tend to stumble across things when you're ready, which allow you that greater growth. Because unconsciously conforming is essentially like a very low level of consciousness that is needed to break the boundaries of that evolutionary state.
So, Brother Finn, Josh, does one's vision change from having an empty mind, an Excel vision, if you will?
I missed the first part of that question, man. Sorry, say that again.
Does one vision change from having an empty mind, an Excel vision, if you will? So, like, I'm guessing it's asking if you meditate or you strive to have an empty mind, if that gives you a bigger.
So let's say like the visions tend to turn into experiences rather than just a vision when you have the ability within the vision to recognize that you are in control. It's like lucid dreaming, In a dream, you start to wake up and you may just remember your dreams at the start, but really having the application and desire, or let's say will, to lucid dream, you can wake up in the dream, realizing that you are conscious in a dream and you can control absolutely every aspect of it. You can turn what perceived to be one night's sleep into months of experience. So, yeah, I mean, having an empty mind is just the state that we are. Not picking up any baggage just allows us to maintain free from any additions. And then as the dream is beginning to manifest, you just recognize that you are the one dreaming and try to adjust small things. And within the dream, I mean, it's no different. It's possibly even more real than this experience we're having now. And there is no limits here. This is what you are. But it's only when you let go of your nature, your physical belief, that you then fall into the state of which you are, which was the self once again. So you do this every night. You do this every night, but you have lost the ability to become aware of that which you are during sleep. And then when you wake during the day, your belief is straight back into this personal body, which is again a dream that the awareness is within, believing that it's the body. It's just like falling asleep and actually remembering your dreams and having a dream so real that you're like, wow, other people were there. And I was meeting with friends of the past. They were there. I met with my father. I was eating this dinner. It tasted so real. If you can recall that and perceive the others and even the self, you'll be able to contemplate and recognize that actually the awareness lost itself within the dream and perceived or believed that it was the body within the one which was dreaming, and perceiving that others were there when others weren't. The body wasn't. It was just consciousness being lucid. Lucidity. This is Lucifer, the light bearer. It's an incredible recognition when you truly, I mean, all of the synchronization from the information that I seeked from such a young age, and like say, let's skip food information, say 16 years old, 17 years old, I was 5 or 6 hours a day inquisitive about everything within life, from religion to mysticism to occultism to all of this chemtrails, planetary systems, energy, free energy, even the ridiculous things that are there in the CIA's makeup, like MK Ultra, Project Bluebeam, all of these things I was just so engaged in. And then as I started to progress on my journey, all these synchronizations, all this information is just there. Even Lucifer, there's so much mystified gnosis or information about Lucifer. But when you truly grasp the nature of consciousness, you see that Lucifer fell from heaven. Heaven would be this space where perfection is, and perfection is only the source. He's the bearer of light, sound, music, the head of the angels of music. And music is this frequency, vibration, this energy, light. This is the physical realm. This is why Lucifer is the trap, because you start to engage your consciousness in physicality and believe this is it. Now you're lost from the lies of Lucifer, let's say. But it's all allegory. Light comes from darkness because that which you are is dark. But arc is form of arc is all electrical or light. This is who you are. It's incredible. You have this wonderful ability. And I suggest if you haven't yet found the ability to dream lucidly and wake up within your dream and change your dream, put some energy there. Try. Because all of the chains to belief kind of fall away from what you believe is reality. And you can truly experience anything, and feel the experience just as real as you do here.
Perspective has a question. I'll come back to that because since we just handled Finn, he has a follow-up and he says, can you speak on clarity, basically? Thanks. I don't know if he just means in general.
I mean, clarity would come from recognizing what is and what isn't. And then being able to shift your awareness and application of your awareness to deal with that which is and leave that which isn't. And everything will become clear. And I hope that makes sense to you. I mean, if it does not, then please say another question and we will interpret it more at the end, because I know there's quite a few more questions that we have to get through.
I'm just
get rid of your illusions. Clarity comes in so many forms. It comes from food. One, if you clean your food to the original food through, obvious intellectual approach, you start to have a certain level of clarity within the body. That body clarity allows a certain level of clarity to the mind. That mind clarity that you get from observing it, watching it, recognizing that these just come and go, and if you attach to them, they cause suffering. Letting go of that creates a certain clarity of spirit, and then the clarity is just holistic.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so in your experience, do you guys use or have you used Shijalit?
You missed out. Sorry, you missed out perspective. Just want to say that.
Yeah, I skipped perspective. Sorry, Per. Is becoming a sovereign being a part of the journey? Lose the identity we've been given, become a new soul, like born again? I'm asking because I'm heading to Portugal to join the Pineal Gang.
I mean, sovereign, it's held within the belief of oneself. What truly does sovereign mean? There was only one sovereign being, and this is the Queen. But this is why the duality is presented, the personal fiction within inside the matrix or legal system, which you have the ability to identify as at any given time, no matter what you've done in the past. Your person is a corporation, a legal fiction that you use to do commerce, which is a tool. Don't let the system use you, but use it to engage in the system. Apart from that, at any given time, you are what most people will perceive to be sovereign if you know yourself. So when you know yourself within the physical world, this is the legal system. But the Bible also correlates to the true meaning of knowing the self, which is losing the identity of the persona, which creates all the conflict, which creates all the suffering from all your expectations of your partner, because you've told her or him to do something and they're not doing it again. And now you're suffering, and now anger arises, and now you're going to engage in an argument and try to control the external situation. See, this is all within. So this is the personal identity. This is the true identity, and truly becoming sovereign over giving power to the external world and to other beings on manipulating the way that you feel. So these two come hand in hand. So I say the true sovereign is letting go of all of the persona, lose the identity we've been given, become a new soul, like born again. So no, the new soul, the born again, is not correlated to do with anything physical. When we say reborn or born again, the resurrection, it's the recognition of your true source. It's the Christ consciousness. It's nothing to do with the legal system. If you're heading to Portugal, that's great for you. You know, don't hold any expectations of where you're going with others. And remember, you know, take each day as it comes and just enjoy everything, because everything is not as it seems. Just be ready to deal with everything momentarily with no expectations, because you can't get disappointed. You don't let your emotions run high and low. You just stay and maintain this balance. Really good luck to you, and I hope you enjoy it.
So then, Arm Junior,
Oh, sorry, brother. Sorry, quickly. One thing is, when you're trying to claim freedom from everywhere, from countries, members of parliament, kings, queens, you don't get any response. Then the legal system says if no response means it's the same as a yes, right? But you're never going to know. You're always going to remain unsure, and you're never going to feel comfortable. This is why when you've gone beyond the boundaries of personal identity and see the holistic structure of everything, everything is necessary. So you can use the system to do with things, and no one's actually oppressing you. No one's oppressing you now. But there is a government which governs minds, which then when one perceives them to be governing them, the chains are on them. Every part of this system is working and functioning just as it should, because without it, there would be turmoil. So there's a great purpose to everything. So if you evolve your seeing beyond that, then you can respect and become peacefully interacting and associated with everything that is, which is my advice. The world is built on ego, essentially. Everyone who's interacting within the world is ego. So you learn how to be peaceful and observe and use the virtues, then your reality and every situation that you come into contact with them will work effortlessly in your favor, truly.
So, Arm Junior, Josh, in your experience, do you guys use or have you used shijalit? Is it good for obtaining minerals like CMOS, or is it inorganic?
I mean, for the uses of it, I've seen, you know, helping nerve activity, you know, regenerate nerves. There is, you know, some elements to it for health, but I don't have any true experience with it, because I truly see health as a holistic lifestyle, you know, where you're consuming whole foods, which don't cause any acidosis within the body, and you kind of live effortlessly along that. But yeah, other than that, brother, I couldn't really give you any more advice, but it's, you know, a wonderful Ayurvedic medicine that's been used. But I would say truly as a purpose, I would advise somebody to take that if like they have myelin sheath injury or some nerve damage, where kind of there's like a knot at the end of the nerve, and it kind of helps replace that and reconnect neurons. But also we have things like cannabis, which is probably one of the greatest neuroconnectors we have. I wouldn't leave it out of your cupboard if you do have any or wish to get any. But yeah, embark on an experience and see what works for you. I'm sure there's something in it that would be beneficial to the body, but it's not dropped from a tree, so I wouldn't consume it, you know, regular as a food. Maybe for a short period of time if you have any sort of nerve injuries or anything like that.
Bonnie just says that urine topically on skin is amazing. So she probably had some.
I mean, you're essentially in urine as a baby. The sac, the amniotic fluid is like urine. Baby skin is so very soft. I think even, the Victorian age, people were having urine baths who could afford it, or maybe they were just using, their horse to fill up a bath over the course of a few days. There was somebody, Husky. Yeah, I think you missed out Husky, just above.
How about yeah, I thought that was probably a conversation in the chat, but how about reversing heart disease? If your heart is working at 50%, should be 60%, 60, 70%? I didn't quite catch. So Husky, if there's a question, please.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a question before that, but yes, I mean, optimal health will repair everything in your body if you catch it at the right time. But heart disease is, proven by a plant-based diet to reverse, I think, on the World Health Organization website, and it's definitely worth a shot.
Summer McNeil just wants to mention that Barrett says hello to Josh. He is talking more.
Barrett says hello to Josh. He is talking more. Ah, that's good. Lovely to hear, Sister Summer, and say hello to Barrett. Hello, brother Barrett. That's really nice to hear.
Brendan has a question. Any thoughts on what makes one more intelligent than another?
Somebody that seeks a lot of information tends to be more intelligent, really hyper extends intelligence, but intelligence is also a very great trap for one's spiritual evolution. So you have to kind of learn to balance them both and recognize if you're being driven by intelligence, it's just repeating information. And this is what the mind/ego does. So one's essentially looking for more power, more experience in it. And hopefully through this experience, the intelligence or the seeking of this will lead you to a path of even greater power, which is through the searching of information related to the destruction of the ego. And then through the ego searching for more power, it turns against it. And then you're able to take the attention off of that and then leave yourself in the present moment with the source gnosis, the synchronized aspect of all things, the inability to be deceived. But what makes one more intelligent? I would just say their level of evolution, the level of food that they eat, the level of experience that they've had, the level of nurture from their mother and father.
So, Sister Bonnie asks if you believe in prayers as a way of healing.
Yeah, I mean, I would add it to eating great food, but prayers with multiple people has been, scientifically and medically proven, to instantaneously like dissolve tumors. But the one who is being prayed for, must have a true belief in this as well. Otherwise, it won't work. It's like transferring thought. It can only be done when there's just a great knowing, within inside. So yeah, for sure, 100%. Prayers to water for sure cleans the water. The body's made of 72% water. You can absolutely clean a vessel through intention, through your intentions, through your positive affirmations, through the way that you live your life. I mean, it's this whole holistic approach to everything that you as a ex-fam, long-standing member, you do and you apply within yourself. And we all together, we can put our love and energy and direct it to somebody and really make a difference.
Thank you. Sister Lisa has a question. She's asking, when you guys travel, what do you do about water? Bottled? Do you take a filter? I'm assuming you don't juice when you travel. When in airports, what type of food do you take with you?
So if we travel via an airplane, then I would spend a few hours making a huge lunch and, well, a day's worth of food to take with me. You know, you can't take any type of liquid with you. So for hydration, I would just buy the cleanest water at the airport and consume that. But it wouldn't just be a regular practice for me. So as soon as I was the other side, you know, I would either be traveling to a place where we know people who have distillers or just find the best source water possible. Usually a high fruit diet with low salt, you don't really get that thirsty. So your water content is found in the fruits, but that should keep you well. But I mean, there's many things you can take to an airport. You know, we would typically make like a really large salad. I would cut up loads and loads of fruit, maybe wash a kilo of strawberries, cut up 5 mangoes, chop some apples, some bananas in, 2, 3, 4 tubs of fruit. You could even make some, you know, lentil wraps and take them if you like something that's a bit more easier to consume. But preparation is key when you're looking to stay on point, because you know sometimes when we're not on point and we haven't found that space, we can suffer and kick ourselves and live in a small amount of regret, pain, and suffering from it. So just be prepared to make what you wish. And as for a filter, no, I wouldn't take a filter. No, I don't have a filter. I just use distilled water when we're at home, and just find the best source of water. But I definitely would not be eating out. I haven't done that for so many years, and I wouldn't be willing to pay the price of food to be disappointed in the flavor.
We who fast for weeks on end, wouldn't the easiest thing just to be to fast when you're going for travel for a day or even
It would
two?
be the easiest thing, but not when you have a 6-year-old.
No, not
So
the
it's
case.
just, you just make it for everyone, enjoy
Yeah.
the trip, makes the time go a bit faster. I mean, last time I flew to Switzerland, I just sat there and I would say meditated, but I just disconnected, and the whole flight felt about 5 minutes, which was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more for the waiting around before and after, when you have children, it's just good to keep them fed.
Yeah.
It's nice,
I
it's
was
a
think
nice distraction.
I was thinking of course, more of us grown-ups. I don't know if the question was for her or for.
No, I mean, for grown-ups you could fast, but if you're not, obviously I don't think the question was really about fasting. So,
No, it was.
just have a nice good bottle of non-fluoridated, and if you can, no chlorine water at the airport. Just take a look for that.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Sister Heidi, what's your experience with Bob Beck's electrical device, and what were the results?
What were the results? I mean, they're very good. People that hold a great expectation to them and they don't have the holistic approach may not experience the better level of healing they have, but they're very good at helping viral issues, so like hepatitis, even AIDS. So, I mean, there are companies that make all three of his systems, and to be honest, they work well all together rather than just one at each individual time. Please, I see there was a question.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Could you please tell us more about what Bob Beck's electrical devices are? Because I don't know.
So, like, one of the main ones was like a blood electrification machine. There was a patent done many years ago, I think in 1995, not by Bob Beck, but it was where basically blood used to be drawn out of the body, and it used to be put through an electrical pulse that used to clean all the pathogens, fungus, viruses, etc., and then put back into the body. But this took months. So somebody decided or invented a creation where you would just put it inside the inner arm here, and then this would pulse the blood and clean it out. And the results were incredible. So through his intelligence and his contacts, they created a device that you just put on your wrist that pulses and creates an electrical impulse, and it helps purify the blood. And the tests that he did, essentially it was called immortal blood, but it was so clean. Most blood dried up and was like emotionless after a day or so, but they actually found that blood left on a sample was still active after like 30 days. And it was just this very pure, fresh blood. Another one of the devices that he has is an electromagnetic pulsar, which is great at going deep into like lymphatic sites. That helps align and clean and purify. So those two devices just work incredibly well with, I would definitely recommend just having a whole food plant-based diet at a minimal baseline when you're trying to experience any type of healing. And if you can move towards fruits, then you're going to experience a greater healing with it. But yeah, I mean, he's through his protocol, he's helped, I'd say, just many people with AIDS. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. And yeah, so like there's also through his like protocols, he created he created some information that helps you build these things yourself. And like you can go online and you can look at this information. Like another one of the, I said three, but another one of the protocols was like colloidal silver colloids, and that's just simply created by having some silver wire on a 9-volt battery, just putting it in a glass of water for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and that's ready to drink. And that is antiviral, antibacterial, and essentially what's the science behind doing that is, when somebody has a viral disease, let's say AIDS, acquired immune deficiency, then another ailment or an issue or something adding into the body can create that person death because their immune system is very low. But if you are on colloidal silver, then that will not happen at that time, so using those three together is the best way with a whole food plant-based diet. And just look at Bob Beck's protocol, and just take a small search and find some PDFs out there that you can create these yourself. Or there are a few, how would I say this? There are a few companies out there that are recommended by his associates that have created these devices perfectly, and they're just not as cheap as making it yourself. But it's definitely worth a shot if somebody has those issues.
Next question is actually, there's a question, but it's turned into a kind of a discussion or conversation on the chat. So let me read through them real quick. Brother Nick Morgan says, I went vegetarian for around 18 months and it really had negative effects which have all been healed by introducing meat again. Were we not meat eaters ancestrally? And then I will just read the question because Arm Jr. says, Nick Morgan, hey, I had similar experience, but I'm back on fruit. I did what Josh recommended in another video, which was check my B12, D3 and get some iodine. Arm continues, either potassium iodine or by making the combo water ice. I'm feeling better now. My feet were going numb and just other weird symptoms were happening. Then Nick Morgan comes on. I was using all those supplements and still had the issues with skin, teeth. I have added fruit back in, but I feel stronger physically and still have great clarity.
That's great. And I mean, is there still a conversation?
Yeah,
Sorry,
they were
he's
just
trying.
Arm Junior just came up with there's a playlist on Exam Unity website that does a pretty good job of answering the question, what do they get? Oh yeah, that's about another question to lying about space. Okay, but to address Nick's first comment, where he says he went vegetarian for around 18 months and it really had negative effects, which have all been healed by introducing meat again. Were we not meat eaters ancestrally?
Nick, can I ask you a question? Do you know your blood type? And if you do, put it in the comments. It'll be interesting. As Brother Jostein brought this out the other day with blood types. But, this is why you are your own doctor. And what you've done, is great because it works for you.
Mm.
Now, I wouldn't want to take you away from something which is making you feel good by telling you my opinion or something about fruit. But, for me, I don't believe that ancestrally we were meat eaters. I believe that there were periods of time possibly that we had to scavenge because of the impact on Earth with being taken away from habitation zones. But we don't truly know. I mean, from a young boy, the perception I built was that a certain period of time, not too long ago, the world was beginning to be inhabited for commercial means. So the idea of slaves, no matter where people were from, they were being taken, sold a false idea to own a certain aspect of land and create this new environment for their family. And in these new environments, really the only things that were truly edible were things that these animals that were created eat. So then people sustained their lifestyle on preserves like grains, nuts, seeds, and bread and meat and products from animals like the chickens have eggs and cows have milk, and so do goats. And essentially, this is how I would perceive if I was giving an intellectual opinion is what's happened. And where we see tribes that live like 45 years on a meat-based diet, and we think that that's where we have replicated or that's where we have come from because they're still living as indigenous as we were once, then I would say that more than likely Christopher Columbus, the story, and his crew went through these areas and took all the mothers and fathers and took them to some new aspect of land and let the children bring themselves up on their own. So they had to do what they knew how to do, and that was those that survived carcasses and then learned a small craft of, hunting, killing, and catching while these fruits started to die out essentially in their areas. And, the whole true nature of ourselves has been lost. But I'm not doubting that you feel better, not just being on fruits only, because possibly there's some nutrients missing in the fruits that people consume. And that's why I said to Arm Jr., or he seen on a video that B12, D3, and iodine are probably one of the, or are three of the most important vital nutrients that are lacking in the foods that fruit eaters, whole food, plant-based eaters consume. But I'm glad to hear that you feel better doing that. And I would suggest you just keep doing what makes you feel good. And if you ever try, or you have a will to change again, just make sure that those levels are up. But we also have to recognize that the matrix is so perfectly designed for all these micro consciousnesses that the person's hold. 1 minute you believe that fruit is great, then you're eating fruit, and then this happens to you, and then you question yourself, you eat meat, and you feel like it's making you feel better. But, well, not sorry, you're not believe it's making you feel better. You are feeling better from eating meat. And they've created such an advanced system where they feed these animals everything that's lacking within inside fruits and vegetables, and they fortify all the milk and even orange juice in the shops and things like this that make the Western world look and perceived to be normal and healthy. But obviously those that consume excess amounts of sugar, processed foods, they get sick and they get fat, and they're a good business. And like my nan and granddad at 93, 95, and they've lived primarily on whole foods, meat, dairy. So it's not like it's not going to give you a long life expectancy. And they've both been free from any type of, medical industry up until my granddad had a stroke about 3 to 4 years ago. And then he was put on medication for it. We had a conversation, but they weren't willing to give up their meat, and that's fine. But they always wake up and have fruit for breakfast, cooked dinner, and like during the day they'll make something fresh. So if you're happy with something, around that age, I don't think what you're doing is unhealthy. I don't perceive it to be immoral of you, and I'm glad that your health is back on track.
Very good.
Maybe I'll try it one day.
That will be the day.
Yeah.
Polar Camel has a question, and it goes like, Brother Josh, are we in the calm before the storm now that the pestilence has passed?
Where are we?
Polar Camel, we are, let's say...
Camel storm and the pestilence passed. There we are, just below organic intelligence, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's just going to be open to interpretation for everyone. I would say there's more than likely a possibility of another event happening, like we've experienced with these hoaxes. I won't say too much because a couple of our videos have been taken down from speaking, about these things. But if there is, it's not going to bring any level of suffering to me. I still continue to be the same I am each day. I won't change that, and I will continue to do what I need to do, but remain happy. We have to watch the world do what it does, because it's absolutely purposeful. And any idea that we have of changing the world is only going to bring one thing to us, and that is suffering. If you want to truly change the world, you must truly change yourself and become balanced, and let life take you on the journey and put you in a position to be able to shift and change the world. Until then, just let go of the ideas that cause you suffering. As soon as the last episode we have, or had, a few years ago, I was in Spain with Michelle and Alex, and we didn't know. We were on a beach and it was empty, and then we were driving around and all the streets were empty, and we heard it from somebody, I can't remember who, and we just laughed, because it's just what the world does. They come and they go. But looking at predictive programming from like Bill Gates, let's say, it's just the first of something even bigger, So who knows? I certainly don't. But if it happens, I'm okay with it. I will just continue to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to do which is best in each situation. And that's all we can do, guys.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Thank you.
Best thing to do is have a beautiful, huge plot of land with 1,000 fruit trees on it, and some great people around you that are the closest thing to family, which truly are your family. And there's no need to go out.
That's all we need.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, for a few people, you might want to have a couple of chickens, a couple of cows, whatever your dietary requirements are. But I mean, out of all of the foods, I would say eggs are going to be the best. That's not including fruit. All of the animal products, eggs are going to be the best thing to introduce into your diet if you are looking to elevate health. It's something that you're not getting from fruits and vegetables, maybe. And I mean, I haven't studied every single body. I haven't had the ability to be in great labs. So I've just had what I have seen and interacting with people and and what I have myself. Maybe certain types of bodies have adjusted and aligned to taking certain nutrients from this food. And in my observations, just healing a disease, fruit is the best, fasting is the best. And then once you've reversed, just go back onto that which you wish to exist on that makes you feel great. Now, deficiencies are real, they are real, they do happen. And the matrix is catered for these already for a long period of time. It knows what it's doing. So just be aware as you make adjustments out of that world that you might need to make adjustments into the new world that you're in.
Oh, sorry. It's
Bedtime
boring.
for you.
It's boring now. Fred Smith. So we live multiple.
On the internet. Real life.
So we live multiple lives. How do we know the detox effects from a fruit-only diet aren't going to kill our body in this life? So we can... Okay, so we live multiple lives. How do we know the detox effects from a fruit-only diet aren't going to kill our body in this life so we can go on to the next life more pure?
I mean, the body is not holding anything or any level of purity in spirit. But it's not going to affect any level of ascension for any being. And consuming animals is only a belief that is going to stop you. But that level of awareness that you have, there's a belief. If you believe it, you have to make these adjustments within yourself to let go of that belief. So let me get that question again.
Fred Smith, just below the one we just had.
So we live multiple lives. I mean, we are life. We don't have lives. We won't know that the detox effects from fruit-only diet aren't going to kill our body. But if we believe this is the right choice for us and we apply this, then we'll find out the next life to be more pure. I mean, we have to recognize that the experience that we're having is necessary for us. So no matter what choices we make and what experience we have, it was purposeful. So it doesn't really matter what choice you have. But I think the more directed to the truth that you perceive is going to give you the best possibilities, the best experience within this life. So if you do believe fruit is your ultimate source of food and you consume a predominantly fruit-based diet because logic says this, then you're going to be more aligned with your beliefs, which is going to cause less friction within inside your thoughts, your being, your awareness, all these things. If you're searching for answers and you find some, if they maintain a belief, but you're not applying it, and you're eating food that you believe is bad for you, then the body's going to create some ailments. So you have to just be very careful on the acute natures of consciousness. But detox symptoms from fruit, you shouldn't be consistently detoxing from consuming fruit. And if you have or are, I suggest to anybody thinking like transforming their lifestyle it's a food evolution. The best thing to do is just slowly take things out of your diet, one by one by one, allow the body to adjust, allow the body to be able to clean and clear toxins when it has the ability to do so, rather than clog up the lymphatic system by just stopping things and then having a high level of toxins being released, which causes some damage. Just allow a transitional period, even if it's 2 weeks cutting out MSG, sugar, and then you got 2 weeks cutting out all of your other things, your crisps, your oils, all these things into a whole food diet, and then into 2 weeks on a whole food diet, 2 weeks on a raw food diet, 2 weeks on a fruit diet, 2 weeks on a juice diet. 2 weeks on a water fast, and then just reverse it and go back into it very slowly. And by then, you should have given your body the tools and enough time to be able to heal and eliminate things that have been causing it dis-ease.
I was muted. Sorry. I was just saying thank you for your answer. And let's go through the last questions, just keeping it kind of short. What about the afterlife soul trap to recycle you back into physical form? Nick Morgan.
Well, if you're not ready for the next level of experience, then again, you'll have another unconscious manifestation of form to then go through until you're ready to evolve beyond that, which is fine. It's just where you are at your evolutionary state. There's nothing to fear about it. If you're slightly in fear of it, then just continue to apply yourself to the truth, which is essentially what you believe at this time, turn it into a great knowing, and allow the natural process of evolution to take place within you. Live each moment consciously as the righteous, making the right choices in each moment to the best of your ability. You don't need to do anything other than this. Naturally, you will continue to evolve to a state where you'll be beyond the recycling of samsara.
Polar Camel has a question about law. I don't know. I'll ask the question and you can see if there's any way you can do it kind of short. How do we undo the proverbial admiralty maritime restriction that aims to suppress us to our sovereignty, freedom?
I am trying to find that just so I can kind of keep.
Polar Camel. We're just climbing down from where we've been one by one. It's just about perspective. If you see Per with the folded hands.
Is it near the bottom?
We're getting near the bottom, but it's still out of the chat if I scroll down.
Here we go. How do we undo the proverbial admiralty maritime restrictions that aim to suppress? See them as the idea that they are. Realize there's a purposeful process and a need for these restrictions at this moment of evolutionary time, and allow them not to cause you any levels of suffering. Realize that you've always been free, but the recognition of the laws and how they have been designed has now built a perception to you that allows you a different one, which is now oppressing you, or has a belief that there is an oppressor when there is not an oppressor. There is just a system in place that allows public order, and without this system, there would be chaos. Is simply based on commerce. And the world is run by busyness. It's the laws of the sea. The simplest way to this is know your name. Know your name is your enemy. And you do not ever in any given situation need to oblige, or you are not obliged to hand over your name unless you are in a commercial practice. Even driving is a commercial term, the river. And a driver is defined through maritime or admiralty or law of the seas by carrying livestock or human passengers. This is business, So there's actually a perfectly designed system that allows one to know the significance of their name to always be free in any given moment. And you don't need a contract with it. To any given place, any given business. Because essentially all courts were dissolved in 2008 anyway, as the time of evolution happened within many people. started to recognize this law system, and they're all business centers. It's just a place to do business, and it's strictly business. So allow those chains that are on the unicorn, the coat of arms, to be lifted from you. Realize that you're free now. It's those beliefs that you have to go to work, you have to do this, these things here that are actually creating the reality that you are going to work, and then the suffering happens. Just continue to evolve and allow yourself the next level of evolution to become more and more free. And as you free yourself, you elevate your vibration. Your vibration pulls in the experience that you're ready for. Thus, interacting with higher conscious beings, having a true expression of yourself, allowing that to bring the abundance to you. You see, when someone truly expresses themselves, even in the arts of martial arts, let's just use Conor McGregor, albeit a great character within the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He's expressing himself. He's having fun. He's not, pretending to be anything other than, the character that he is. And it's bringing him a ridiculous amount of abundance. Let's go to somebody spiritual like Sadhguru. Sadhguru is a mainstream spiritual teacher who helps people elevate themselves in mild ways, easily seen ways. And the abundance that he's bringing and the change and the shift that he's making across the plane, albeit not seen by everyone, but he's got millions and millions of volunteers that are helping, plant trees and do things and feeding people. And his ashrams are there for, growth. That's a natural expression of himself and where he is elevated. You just have to express yourself honestly, and you will be rewarded by your own experience. So just continue to grow. That's really all I can suggest. It's not the be all and end all, this commercial law, but I can honestly assure you that it's necessary. We want it to fall, but if it falls, so many millions and billions of people wouldn't be able to survive. There's so much disorder. These laws have, built up over time, and they're passed each and every day because they need to be. Even though we look at ignorant politicians who write policies and the policy or police enforce them, these are necessary. We have a speed limit, and a speed limit, is a commercial limit. And if you believe you can go faster and you drive faster safely, then if you seek this type of law, you'll start to look at the law and say, these speed limits are ridiculous. I'm going to kind of challenge them if I get challenged. But they're there because people have died. Other drivers out there aren't necessarily as conscious and don't have the reactions or even the capabilities to be one with a car like you do or I do. And those speed limits are there because some people really just can't really drive very well. And it's protecting people. We just have to look at the holistic aspect of all of these things and realize there is really a purpose for absolutely everything that's going on. Even with like the nuclear weapons, there's information out there that it all could be fake. It's just a hoax, it's fear, it's control. And then the armies, and we go through a level of evolution and we say, there's no need for war. There's no need for these militaries. We say that, our country are in other countries causing the issues. And if America and England and the relationships they've built and the weapons and these perceived things, let's say, albeit they're true, they didn't have them at the level they did, and the peace treaties that they've created, another country would try to dominate and control because it's strictly business. And America has the most gold because they are the most dominant. They have the most weapons. And I think this is exactly how it is supposed to be at this moment in time. And until everybody's evolved beyond a point of this inner conflict, they can start to resolve the conflict within inside the world and respect. But it's not for this experience. This is duality. The world is of suffering. Can you pull yourself out of the sufferer and recognize the divinity of all things in this moment and bring peace to yourself? That's your challenge. The greatest warrior is the one who tackles himself.
Thank you for a wonderful answer. I think I'll just do one more. It's mostly discussion or conversation. I see Bonnie Hall has used capital letters, so I'll award her the question. But one thing, Husky came back with this heart question. And he says now, I've been told my heart is working at 40%. Normally, it should be working at 60 to 70%. I don't know exactly what is. I want mine to work at 100%, but I probably that's not what he means. But he had a CT scan and ECG, electrocardiogram. So probably he's asking how can he fix it?
Yeah. Well, it all depends on what you're doing right now, really. You're going to have to just improve the lifestyle approach. If you drink things like fizzy drinks, tea, coffee with sugar, with milk, you eat red meat, I'd recommend removing off the red meat. It's just hard because it's such a diverse conversation without knowing the background of you. But move towards a whole food plant-based diet. Try to have a high predominantly raw fruit and maybe do the odd intermittent fasting. The heart is regenerated every 7 years. So just try to live a clean, healthy lifestyle for a long period of time, and things should align with you quite simply with minimal effort. But also there are, many other factors that can cause things to not possibly be working as well in just a short space of time. So have yourself a second opinion in a couple of months and just give yourself a clean bill of health until then. That's what I would suggest for you.
Yes, and then let's do. I don't know. Sister Bonnie had it's like a question. It is a question, but it was probably meant for a different when we talked about something. But the question is: but isn't meat hard to digest, and don't we absorb consciousness of suffering and fearful animals?
Well, yeah, meat is hard to digest. As for consciousness, we kind of absorb the memory within the tissue and all of the stress hormones that are released into the muscle through the period of, the last few days, possibly the killing as well. So, to take this on board, most people who are consuming meat don't necessarily feel or recognize it. But when they go back onto it, if they're consciously observing it, they should experience like a dampening of the elevated state for sure. So yeah, I mean, I would say those statements are true, but everyone should always live to the will that they have. And if they have a will that's driven by a belief that there's possibly greater benefits of health in consuming small amounts of meat, should definitely do so, because they have to walk that experience. Otherwise, they're going to be led with a belief and an uncertainty about their experience. And of course, we don't want anyone to live with personal suffering within the physical body. So everyone should truly do what's best for them. But gravity has brought most of us together through food and a local understanding of fruits and vegetables grown from the ground, designed for our bodies, and are the easiest things for us to consume and bring us the greatest levels of health. But this is saying from the garden. And as I said earlier, the Matrix has designed things so perfectly that we have to navigate ourselves acutely and recognize these things too. So it's just a push and pull and a dance with our beliefs. And essentially, we have to transcend our beliefs to to find liberation and what is true. So it's just all a part of the package. It's all a part of the journey. And other people and others external to us, really, they must do what they need to do. And we cannot and should not judge them, because we just end up creating judgment within ourselves, which is the cause of suffering.
We'll finish off with Sabina Marty, who's asking if you have heard of the book, The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. So Sogyal Rinpoche's acclaimed spiritual classic is widely regarded as a manual for life and death. They say that the Buddhas have a way of helping humans to not have to be reincarnated unless they want to. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was really interested in those types of books when I was about 17, 18. Yeah, absolutely. Buddha, gurus, dispellers of darkness, the true guru is absolutely a way of not being reincarnated. And my thoughts to that are, if you join our website and you follow everything from beginning to end, take your time, there should be absolutely every step that one needs not to be reborn again there. Even through our Q&As, 2 years ago, we used to sit there, have six-hour Q&As every Sunday, 5-hour Q&As. We used to answer so many questions, and those that have stuck with us, we take them through this evolutionary state from kind of beginning to end. And essentially, if you're ready to receive this information, then there will be no reincarnation other than the recognition of the one which is the dreamer, creating dreams. And there's no need to be born again here. But this is the inner space that revelations are revealed to one when one is ready and truly applying themselves to those levels of teaching. So for sure, as long as those that are following things don't put too much faith in the steps, but also use the awareness to kind of recognize how to apply it within, because it's never going to be found if it's not found or recognized within. If it's something you have to do, you're never going to find it ever. You will never find it doing something.
Thank you.
It's an effortless space, an inner recognition, an aspect of letting go and remaining as you were before the mind interprets the moment. And then the great work is a continual progressive evolution, and it's all here for you. Q&As, videos, the holistic approach to life, and at the same time you can come and support us and help us continue to try to expand and to grow our community of like-minded beings, so live life to the virtues and share love in a conscious way.
I have a last question. Aren't we doing a fast soon?
Yes. I mean, we should have brought this up at the first part of the show, but I don't know who's going to stay and watch the whole thing, apart from those that are already here with us. Thank you, beautiful beings.
Yes.
But yes, we will be doing an equinox fast. So it's not going to be extended. It's going to be about 7 days. And I think if those aren't ready to fast, just level up, and we'll have a level up course there too with it. So you can just evolve your food a step up so you can help yourself have a greater cleanse. And what usually happens at these periods or these sections of time, there usually is an alignment within inside the field, which causes the masses to experience a flu season. And if we haven't kind of cleaned ourselves and there's too much toxins built up within the body, then we will have a purge ourselves. So if we step up to the plate and we take a small food evolution, we will bypass this, but also give our bodies a nice clean cleanse for longevity, health, and wealth. And doing it with the community is just that much better. So you can have conversations, share recipes, and also any ideas that you might not yet have, or any ideas you have, you can share and also check the website out for food recipes, juice recipes, and any questions that you may have. We are here for you.
Can I ask if you have you set a date, like which day would it start and which day would it end?
Yeah, because it was a 7-day one, it'll probably be 4 days before, 3 days after the equinox. And I'm going to put the post out very soon, and then I'll advertise it on Instagram and on YouTube. So if anyone wants to join us, then we would greatly have you. And hopefully from there, you can take other courses with us.
Yeah.
Yoga, breathwork, virtues, many
The
more.
website is full of very good information.
And we do have a new website that is very close. That's not really down to me. I think it's already done and finished. We just transferring things and aligning them together, which just has so much more capabilities even than the one we have now. But please do support us. It's very welcomed.
With that, I want to say thank you, Josh. Thank you to the people who have been with us live. We love you very much. It's the hardcore X-Fam and subscribers. And thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Josh. Thank you to everyone who's been here with us, and thank you for all the love and support and recognitions that you have made within yourself. And being here just shows exactly where you're at. You know, you're ready to end this game and move on to bigger, greater, and more profound experiences. No more suffering, just pure peace.
Trust and let go.
Yes. Keep applying yourself to your inner truth. Walk the journey of yourself. And any adjustments that need to be made, they'll come in your own inner awareness. Do not give too much focus on any negativity in the world, because it's only going to lead you to more negativity. Recognize all the positive things in your experience. Recognize all the life, the love that's surrounding you. Take time, take breaths, respond, and do not react to life.
And just to information, and we have been talking about maybe doing it, continue to do it on Sundays, every other Sunday that the X-Fam don't have their Q&A. I don't know how that suits you, Josh, but that's definitely a possibility that we could change from Thursdays to Sundays.
I'm happy either way, so yeah, we will do what is best for you and everyone else.
Okay.
Pleasure. So much gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And we're done.